Hello everyone, this is Vartika and I am right back with a new video on Python, that is functions. In this video, we are going to talk in detail about what a function is, what is its importance, and what are the various types of functions in Python. So starting with what a function is. See, a function is a subprogram, a part of a program which takes up certain data and perform certain operations, and after performing the operation it returns certain value. Now the values upon which the function works upon, the values which the function takes from outside are known as the parameters. And after performing the operation, the value that is returned by the function is known as the return value. So a function in Python can also accept certain parameters. It can be one or more. And at the same time, it can also return certain values. The return value can also be either one or more. Right? Moving on to the advantages of a function. See, if we talk about the advantages of function, why do we create a function in the program? There has to be certain reasons because of which we are introducing the concept of function. So let us talk about the advantages of function. The first and the foremost is that the functions help to develop the program fast. Now, how this is possible? Let's suppose you want to create a program in which you want that a string is taken and you want to find out whether another string is existing in that string or not. That means you want to find out the existence of one string in another string, and at the same time you also want to find out the index number, that is the position at which the string is existing. Now in order to accomplish this, if you write the code will be taking about 3 to 4 lines. But there is also a built-in function, that is find function. That function is already created. Now if you write the code, it will cover it. You have to think about the logic you're going to write. This will also increase the number of lines of the program also. But if you will introduce the function find over there, that task will be accomplished in one single line. Since that task will be accomplished in one single line, so it will save your time as well as it will also reduce the size of the program. Now you don't have to think about the logic, how to find out the position of one string and another string. Since you don't have to think about the logic, your program will develop faster. Okay, and I have already told you, when you are using the function, then the program size is reduced. The next one is program testing and debugging is easy. Now how this is possible? See, if you are going to use the function, suppose I have created a function with the name x. When I am creating the function x, I have tested it, I have debugged it, right? Now I found that this function is working perfectly okay. Now if I introduce this function in some program, then I don't have to check again this function x in that particular program. This function is already tested, right? So when you introduce it in a program, when you incorporate it in some program, in the program you don't have to check this. So the testing of the program which is containing certain function is easy. The debugging is also easy because you have to check the individual functions, and that means you can test and debug the program in various parts, right? When you perform testing and debugging in a smaller area and when you perform it in the larger area, that is in the entire program, if you think about it, then testing and debugging in just a small part of the program is far more easier than testing the entire program. So function helps to test and debug the program in an easy and faster way. Then it also increases the program readability. See, if you write a program that is performing multiple tasks, suppose you have written a program that is performing addition also, that is displaying the table of a number also, that is also calculating the factorial. All these three things are written in one single program. And there is another concept in which you have written three functions. In a program there are three different functions. One is performing the factorial, another function is performing the table, and third function is performing the addition. If you look into the two programs, right, then you will find that the program which contains the functions, that is more readable, more understandable as compared to the program that is containing all the operations together. You can think about it as let's suppose there's a book in which the contents are not divided in the chapter form, right? If there's a book, if suppose there is a textbook in which the contents are written from the very first page to the last page without any division of the chapter or topics, then how will you find that book? Will you find it interesting? Will you find it easy to read? Obviously not. But if the book is divided into chapters, right, then reading such a book, understanding such a book is far more easy. So this is since the same concept is applied when we divide the program into functions. Now moving on to the next advantage, that is it facilitates procedural abstraction. Now what is procedural abstraction? See, if you have to find out, just I have given the example, if I have to find out the position of one string and another string, right, and I know there's a function existing, find function. When I use the find function, I simply know that I will provide the string that has to be searched in the current string. When I will provide it, it will simply give me the index number where the argument string is existing in the current string. But how it is performing that task, I am not aware of that code, right? I am not aware of that logic. Neither I am bothered about that logic. This is what procedural abstraction is. That when you use the function, you are not bothered about how it is performing the task. So the user is unaware of the coding of the function that he is using. Next is reusability of code. Functions allow reusability of code. That means once you have written a function, let's suppose there is a function len. We have been using this function. Now len function is doing what? It is counting the number of elements in the given sequence. Now this sequence can be list, this can be string, anything. Right? Now once this function is written, as we already know, this function is already written. Now we can use this function as many times in our program, or we can say this function can be used in any number of programs. This is reusability of code. Once you have created a function, you can use that function anywhere, any number of times. Okay. Now moving on to the types of function. See, the Python functions can be classified into three categories. The first one is your built-in function. The second is function defined in a module. And third is user-defined function. Now, starting with the very first category, that is built-in function. Now, what are the built-in functions? See, built-in functions are those functions which are always available for the user to use. Once you have installed Python on your system, you can use the built-in function. There is no other precondition required for the users of built-in function. You have been using certain built-in functions till now. For example, let us understand. See, these are the examples of certain built-in function. Here I have used a function input. We already know that this function is used to accept any value from the user through keyboard. Another is a function len. We have been talking about this function. It is used to count the total number of elements in the given sequence. Third is a print function. Now this function, it is also a built-in function. It is used to display the value that is passed to it on the screen, right? Now, as I have discussed already that the functions can accept certain value and the function can also return certain value. The function, when a function accepts certain value, that value is known as the parameter. So as you can see over here, that each of these functions are accepting certain values. Input function is accepting the value enter a string. This is a string. Then len is also accepting a value s, and print is also accepting a value l. Now all these three values are known as the parameters, right? Now the function is also capable of returning the value. Here you can see input function is returning a value which is stored in the variable s. In the same way, len function is returning a value which is stored in the variable l. So s and l variables are used to store the return value of the function. Now moving on to another category of function, that is functions defined in a module. Now these are the functions which are part of any module, and if you have to use these functions, you have to first import that module in your program. After importing the module, whenever you are going to use this function, even after importing, you always have to associate the name of the module along with the function name in the format as is given over here, module name dot function name, right? Let us understand it with the help of certain example. See, here I have written import math. That means we are trying to use the function of the module math. And which function we are using? We are using sqrt function. Now when we have to use sqrt, what we have written? Math dot sqrt. Now math is the module name and sqrt is the function name. Now this sqrt function is also taking a value as a parameter, and that value is 49. Now sqrt function is returning a value also which is stored in the variable s. So when we use a function that is a part of any module, we have to first import that module and then we have to use that function name along with the module name separated by dot operator. The next is your user defined function. Now these are the functions which are not the part of any module, but they are created by the programmer in their program and they can use it after the creation, right? In this topic, in functions topic, we will be discussing in detail about the various user defined functions. So with this we come to the end of this video, and in the next video we will be seeing how we can create a user defined function, how we can incorporate it in our programming, right? And what are the variations of the user defined function. All these things we will be covering in our continuation video, right? So if you want to have access to all those videos, do subscribe my channel so that the moment I upload the video, you get to know about it. Thank you.